Who was Janus? In ancient Roman religion, Janus was the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, and endings. He was often depicted with two faces, looking both forward and backward, symbolizing his connection to transitions and time. Janus was worshipped in several ways. Here are a few examples. Ceremonial invocations. Janus was invoked at the beginning of any religious ceremony, regardless of the main deity being honored. This practice emphasized his role as a god of beginnings. The month of January, named after Janus, was particularly sacred to him. Janus was associated with various transitions in daily life, such as the beginning of the day, month, and year. He was also invoked during important life events like marriages, births, and deaths. During ancient Roman New Year celebrations, Janus was invoked in several meaningful ways to ensure a prosperous and favorable year ahead. I will only focus on a few examples. I urge you to do your own research. On the first day of January, Romans would offer gifts such as dates, figs, and honey to Janus. These sweet offerings symbolized their hope for a sweet and prosperous year. Prayers and invocations were made to Janus, asking for his guidance and protection as they entered the new year. Janus, being the god of beginnings and transitions, was honored through various symbolic acts. Romans would often start new ventures or make important decisions at the beginning of the year, invoking Janus to bless these new beginnings. The dual-faced imagery of Janus, looking both forward and backward, was a reminder to reflect on the past year while looking forward to the future. While Janus is not directly worshipped in modern times, his influence can still be seen in various cultural and symbolic practices. New Year celebrations. The month of January, named after Janus, marks the beginning of the new year. Celebrations and traditions associated with New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, such as making resolutions and reflecting on the past year while looking forward to the future, echo the duality and transitional aspects of Janus. The tradition of making New Year's resolutions today has roots that can be traced back to the ancient Roman practice of invoking Janus at the start of the year. Here are some connections. Symbolism of new beginnings. Just as the Romans invoked Janus to bless new ventures and transitions, modern New Year's resolutions are about setting goals and making commitments to improve or change aspects of one's life. Both practices emphasize the idea of a fresh start and the opportunity to reflect on the past while looking forward to the future. Reflection and planning. Janus, with his two faces looking both backward and forward, symbolizes the importance of reflection and planning. Similarly, making New Year's resolutions involves reflecting on the past year, identifying areas for improvement, and planning for the future. Cultural continuity. The month of January, named after Janus, marks the beginning of the new year. This continuity from ancient Roman times to the present day highlights how the cultural practice of marking new beginnings has persisted. The act of making resolutions is a modern way of honoring the tradition of seeking positive change and new opportunities at the start of the year. These connections show how the ancient worship of Janus has influenced contemporary practices, keeping the spirit of new beginnings and self-improvement alive. For believers in Jesus Messiah, it's important to approach cultural traditions and historical practices with discernment. While understanding the historical context of Janus and his influence on modern traditions like New Year's resolutions can be interesting, it's crucial to remember the teachings of the Bible. Colossians 2 verse 8 reminds us, "See to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy, which depends on human tradition and the elemental spiritual forces of this world rather than on Christ." This verse encourages believers to be vigilant and not be swayed by traditions or philosophies that do not align with the teachings of Christ. Romans 12 verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. It's important to approach traditions with discernment and awareness of their historical roots. Understanding the origins of practices like New Year's resolutions can help believers make informed decisions. Matthew 7 verse 23. And then I will declare to them, I never knew you, depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. This verse emphasizes the need for genuine faith and obedience to God's commandments. Make New Year's resolutions with awareness. Understand that this tradition originated from worshiping Janus, the Roman god of beginnings. Resolutions aren't prayers but rather an indirect nod to Janus. Be mindful of syncretism, the blending of beliefs. History shows that when true worship was mixed with pagan practices, new form of worship emerged, called Christianity. This led to people unintentionally honoring pagan gods through adopted traditions and celebrations. Research and understand the roots of customs like celebrating Christmas, New Year, Easter, Valentine's Day, birthdays, and many more.
Thanks for watching. May the truth set you free and bring you closer to God, Elohim. Until next time, stay enlightened.